In the following video, we're going to continue to look at Benedicta's early days in our marriage, and more particularly in her development as a minister. Most of us have heard the phrase, sink or swim. And in Benedicta's first days as a partner in Spirit of Grace Ministries, that phrase sums up how I almost immediately thrust her into the heart of the ministry. Thank God she did not sink. She's been swimming ever since. Well, we're ready for our next and I guess our final installment of our 10-year anniversary talk.
Yep.
And this time we're going to focus on your second trip, which was just 2 months later. I guess I was in a hurry to see you because I don't normally schedule my missions that closely together. But in this case, in September, you went with me to India. We met in India, that is. You were still living in Nigeria because I couldn't get a visa that quick. But in November, we headed for Mombasa, Kenya, which was the first African nation apart from Nigeria.
Right.
Where you had been. Mm-hmm. And in India, you had a horrible time just leaving Lagos. They held you up and threw all kinds of red tape at you. And in the second trip, though, how did it go?
The second trip to, Kenya wasn't difficult. All I did was to go to Kenya Embassy in Nigeria and got my visa. And
no hassles there.
No hassles there.
Yeah.
They just gave it to me that same day, and I went straight to the day I was supposed to travel. I just packed my things straight to the airport.
And this time nobody was checking your money or
nobody was
hassling you.
I saw the same man that hassled me last time.
You saw him.
Did
you greet him?
I greeted him. He was like looking at me. I'm like, morning, sir. He was like, look at her, she's
like,
going again.
I don't want any part of this lady.
No, I don't want. I don't want any part of her. And so they just let me go, and I got into the plane, heading to Kenya. There was no, trouble, no turnaround.
Right.
It was just straight to
when you got
Nairobi.
to the Nairobi airport,
right?
And I was there. We didn't miss our connection.
Yes, you were there.
But when you saw me,
oh dear,
what did you do?
We came out from the plane and heading to where we're supposed to get our luggage.
Yeah.
I didn't know that they were going to, because initially, when I traveled to India, we got to Addis Ababa and connected to another flight. So I didn't really get my bags. I think, although my bags were already there, so I forgot that I was supposed to go get my bag.
Okay, so in Nairobi, on the second trip to Kenya, the trip to Kenya,
right?
You saw me.
I saw you, and I left all my luggage.
Forgot about it.
I forgot about it.
Assumed that they would take care of it.
Yeah, assuming that they're gonna bring my luggage. As I was getting out of that airport, I turned around, I saw you. I just left everything. I'm like, hey, sweetie. I just rushed down, left everything. The police that were at the middle of the whole, airport stopped me and was like, where are you coming from? I'm like, okay, I'm coming from Nigeria. And And they were like, you're a Nigerian? I'm like, yeah, I'm a Nigerian. Hello, Nigerians. Yeah, your sister here. And then they were like, okay, what are your luggage? I'm like, well, they are getting them out, and that's my husband over there. I got to go. And then they were like, oh, okay, go. They let me go.
So I'm seeing you, and I'm very happy to see you, but I'm a little puzzled because you don't have any bags with you.
Yeah, I didn't, know that I had to get my bag as long as I was getting out. And then you were like, hey, we greeted. You were like, what are your bags? We were like, okay, they're there. You were like, you got to go get your bag.
Right. But it wasn't that easy because when you went back, security people had grabbed your bags.
Those police that were standing there that stopped me initially knew what was going on. When I was coming, they had to reposition themselves and, position another kind of, two policemen there, immigration people there. Okay. And then they went inside. And by the time I went there, got my 2 bags, they stopped me and were like, come with us.
So
like,
they
oh my gosh.
they ended up searching your
They
bags.
searched all my bags through.
Which is not that big of a deal, but the problem
No.
was we had a very tight schedule. We had a
Right.
local flight to catch.
I was yelling at them all through.
On from Nairobi to Mombasa. You weren't all that experienced, but you knew how to yell at people, didn't you?
Yeah. If I can't talk them into what I want, I can yell at them and yell them into what I want.
We had a president named Ronald Reagan who said, if they can't see the light, let them feel the heat. So they weren't seeing much light, but you were giving them some heat.
Yeah, I was like trying to let them know, please, we are, connecting into another flight and into, local flight, and you are delaying me. So I don't really know how much time I got, before the next flight will move.
Yeah.
My husband has the whole flight, arrangements for the second one, and you're delaying me here. What are you looking for? They were searching the whole thing all through, looking through, throwing the whole bags up, and I'm like, if I miss my flight, you are going to pay for the next flight.
You're kind of a spunky
young
thing. But at any rate, we did make our flight. We got on there in a hurry. We had to hurry over to the local airport, got on our local flight, got to Mombasa, which is a coastal city. And we had a little incident on the way from Mombasa to our hotel. It was a rather lengthy drive of a couple of hours, I guess, hour and a half, something like that. But tell about the little incident that happened on the road.
The incident was, I think some bad guys threw some nails on the road to catch their prey. And while we were driving, down from the airport, a little kilometers away, the thing got our back tire punched. And
we had a flat.
We had a flat tire, and the driver was about to stop. Thank God for one of the pastors that entered, at the airport
driving with us.
And it's like he knows more about that area than, our team.
Well, one of the things he said that quickly alerted me that we had an issue, he said, this is not a safe area at all.
Yes.
And the tone of voice he used, it was like, this is the last place you want to stop.
You want to stop.
And but we had one of our guys that was it was a rented car, and he was afraid you're going to ruin the wheel trying to drive on a flat. So he was trying to urge us to just keep to stop and change
your tire.
And I just judging by what that one guy had said, I was like, no way. I said just drive on the flat until we get out of this area, and that's what we did. So we got to our hotel without any problem.
Right. And, while they were driving slowly and managing the tire, and I looked at my back, up like this. It was like a little hilly.
Okay.
I saw two guys running after us.
Trying to catch up with
us.
So, I mean, if they had...
It was good that we didn't stop.
Really bad news. Mm-hmm. But God was with us and gave us grace, and we got out of there.
Yeah, we
drove on a
God.
flat, but the wheel wasn't destroyed. So
we thank the Lord.
We knew the tire would be destroyed, but that's okay. You can replace tires. So anyway, we got to Mombasa and had a good meeting, and it was there that I really put you to work. In India, you had a couple opportunities to do some things, but in Mombasa, we did a little more. In fact, we're going to pause this video in a little bit and let people hear the younger Benedicta, about 10 years younger, newly married, and you had two opportunities for ministry. The first one was, at least I think it was the first one, was with the ladies.
Right.
And then we had an evening where you shared your testimony, and then I went ahead to preach.
Mm-hmm.
So how did you feel when you got up to speak to those ladies? It was basically a ladies' meeting. You're one lady speaking to other ladies. How did you feel about that?
Well, the ladies' meeting was really great. I enjoyed, the ladies' meeting, preaching and sharing my own little way. I didn't know too much, by the time, you called me to share my testimony, during the crusade, I froze up because I had never, seen myself standing in front of that, much people.
Well, I didn't notice that you froze. You might have been a little stiffer than you are now.
Yeah, I was like
one thing we noticed
scared and nervous.
One thing we noticed as we watched the videos was that you held your mic like a rock singer. You had your mic kind of up like this instead of the way a preacher or a Christian singer would do, which is down this way. But I guess you'd been watching.
In Nigeria, I was singing and at the same time, preaching. But our local songs like Nigerian local songs. I'm not, a big shot, but I can just sing a little praise and worship while the ministers, minister. So I was used to holding my mic
Is
like
that way
this.
Nigerian singers tend to do?
Yeah, that's how we
Yeah.
hold it,
So
if you want to sing.
I had to tell you, you're covering up half your face with that
I
mic,
know.
so for the next time, hold it down. But anyway, getting back to you with the ladies, I was blown away by how natural and how good you were. I mean, you had humor, you had power, you had fluency, you were articulate. You had those ladies, all excited. It was thrilling for me. And it was like you take a fish that maybe you don't know for sure if he can swim, and you put him in some water and he just immediately starts swimming. And it's like, okay, that's natural for him.
Yeah.
And you were kind of like that fish. I mean, it was just, talking to ladies, you're always in your element. I mean, you are the very best you can ever be when you talk to those ladies.
Yes.
And so I was like, well, from now on, she's going to talk to ladies wherever we go. Because you
Okay.
were just that good. So we're going to stop in the video for a minute, let people hear you. At that very first time, you basically had a ladies' meeting.
Right.
And I think they'll be blessed.
Praise God.
Bwana asifiwe.
You know one thing is that
Unajua kitu kimoja ni hiki.
God loves women
Mungu
so much.
anapenda kina mama mno.
Men do not understand that we are the last born of our God.
Waume huwa hawaelewi ya kuwa sisi ndio wazaliwa wa mwisho wa baba
I
yetu.
have my women in the house.
Kina mama
Please
mko.
talk to me, talk to me. I want you to talk to me.
Kina mama.
I said that we are the last born of our Lord Jesus
Sisi
Christ.
ndio vifunga mimba wa Bwana wetu Yesu Kristo.
God created everything.
Mungu aliumba kila kitu
And He made the man.
na akamuumba mwanamume.
Even when He wanted to make the man, He said, come, let us make man in our own image.
Alipotaka kumuumba Adamu alisema njoni tumuumbe
All the
Adamu
angels, everybody gathered, including Satan himself.
mfano wetu wenyewe.
Amen.
Amen.
But when He wanted to make woman in
Lakini
Genesis,
alipotaka kumuumba mwanamke katika mwanzo,
He made the man to sleep,
alimfanya mwanamume alale.
and the man slept.
Mwanamume akalala.
He removed only one rib. Because see that men are not complete.
Akatoa ubavu mmoja, ndio maana waume hawajakamilika.
And then he went inside,
Na akaenda ndani,
inside his inner chamber,
ndani ya maficho yake,
and he fashioned the woman.
na akamtengeneza mwanamke.
Are you here?
Je, uko hapa?
I said he fashioned the woman.
Akamtengeneza mwanamke.
He knew that one day
Alijua siku moja
that the woman will get pregnant of the Lord Jesus.
ya kuwa huyu mwanamke atapata mimba ya Yesu.
Give birth to him,
Kwa hivyo amzae
breastfeed him,
na
nurture him like a baby,
amkuze
and
kama
when
mtoto.
he grows up,
Na
he's going
atakapokuwa
to save the whole world.
So now let's talk about the evangelistic side of things. Evangelism is a little different. There's going to be more non-Christians in the audience, for one thing. We're up on a platform, and our whole purpose is to win souls. When we're
Right.
doing conferences, we're trying to instruct Christians. When we're doing evangelism, we're trying to win souls.
Right.
Now, you've got a powerful testimony. So, I wasn't telling you, go preach a sermon, but I was saying share your story. How did it feel for you?
I felt really good. It was great sharing my testimony, knowing that what I have been through, God
Yes.
is using it to bless somebody.
That's right.
And when God said you are going to the east, west, north, and south to share your testimony, I didn't really know how that my testimony is going to bless somebody, and didn't even know how to go about it. I thought maybe east, west, north, south of Nigeria. I didn't know that God was planning international. But right there, I found myself traveling, sharing, and I was, I felt fulfilled
Yeah.
in my spirit. I felt fulfilled. I felt, that I am doing what God, wants me to do at that moment. And
And he had given you a very clear word. This, we've made reference to this, you're going to go to the north, south, east, and west.
Right.
But that wasn't just, kind of a vague general impression. It came very clear to you.
Yeah, it really did.
How did that word really come to you?
well, it was,
Was it a dream? Was it just a voice you heard during the daytime?
it was really coming in the dream. And then, sometimes I would be like, doing my own thing, you know, kind of normal person,
Yeah.
it would drop again in my heart, boom, you are going to the east, west, north, and south. In the dream, you know, the voice came kind of clear.
Yeah.
You know, you're going to the east, west, north, and south. Just like when I was in the dormitory, during my teenage age,
Yes.
and God showed up in the dream with, you know, with their bright lights saying you're going, you know, going to the world and tell them who I am.
Yeah.
And that scared me to death as a little girl. I didn't know what, but that was the second, you know, time God came, you're going.
Right. Now, he didn't fill in a lot of the details.
No.
He didn't say there's going to be a white American preacher going to come
No.
to Lagos and you're
No.
going to get married and
No.
you're going to travel. You didn't know anything.
I didn't know anything about that.
And you couldn't hardly even imagine how that could happen.
I didn't even imagine how that could happen, really, because money-wise, I didn't have the kind of money that people that are doing big ministry like that, you know, I hardly fed myself in those days, so.
And in Africa, women don't have many opportunities to minister anyway. Maybe if they're married to a man and you know, the wife of a minister,
wife
they
can
maybe
minister.
can do some things.
Exactly.
But you were a single lady. God's saying you're going to go to the north, east, west, and south.
Right.
You don't have any idea how it's going to happen.
No.
And nor did you know the extent of how far north, east, west, or south.
Yeah, I didn't know it was that far.
You thought it was what?
Yeah, I thought it was just Nigeria, go to the east, you know, west, north, and south of Nigeria.
Right.
Even as at that, I didn't even have the money
Couldn't
to do
even
it.
imagine how that
Couldn't
could
even-
happen.
yeah.
Let alone going to
going
India
flying.
and preaching in America and
I
so many
know.
different places where you have different
Yes,
places in
you
Africa.
know, there is, you know, kind of what we say that if God has called you,
Yeah,
He will provide for you.
right.
So God has called me to go.
Yeah,
And then while I was wondering how everything gonna, you know, will be coming together for me to just make a move, God provided and planned everything. So you just showed up, and there I was.
there you go. And when you ministered and shared your testimony, and then I preached, you know, it wasn't. I didn't give you the whole night. I gave you just like 15 minutes
15
or so,
minutes.
and then I got up and preached.
Right.
But eventually, as the years rolled by, after a few years, I began thinking, you know, she can do the whole sermon. And you
Yes.
began to weave your testimony in with preaching, a little testimony, a little preaching, a little testimony, and
Right.
and you got more and more comfortable, and God has used you to reach many, many people.
Many people.
So right now, we're going to pause again and let people hear you. That very first time you shared your story in Africa, you did share it in India, but the first time you shared it in Africa, and it has led to many, many further times of sharing the
Yeah.
amazing stories and testimonies that God has done in your life. Just
God
testimony.
called me right from my childhood to go into the world and preach the gospel.
Mungu aliniita kutoka nikiwa mdogo kwenda kuhubiri Injili.
And Satan saw what the Lord was using me to do, how he wanted to terminate my life.
Mtu mmoja akaniona kile ninachofanya akataka kuangamiza maisha yangu.
In 2003,
Mwaka 2003,
Satan afflicted me with sickness.
shetani akanipiga na kupiga kweli kikanidhuru.
I was ill for a whole year,
Akawa mgonjwa mwaka mzima.
dying and waking up.
Akafa na kuamka.
But at a point, the Holy Spirit took me to heaven.
Lakini mahali fulani Roho Mtakatifu akanipeleka mbinguni.
And that place where I saw first of all was like a garden.
Pale mahali nilipaona mara ya kwanza pakawa kama bustani.
All the trees, the flowers, the houses, everything in there were praising God.
Yaani maua yote, miti iliyokuwa mahali pale ni msifu Mungu.
And that is why anywhere I go, I encourage people to praise God.
Na ndiposa popote ninapoenda kuambia watu wamsifu Mungu.
Because He delights in praises.
Kwa sababu anapendezwa mahali pengine mbinguni.
In that place,
Mahali hapo
I saw so many things.
nikaona mambo mengi.
I saw that both children, adults, both black and white were there.
Nikaona watu wazungu na Waafrika, watoto na watu wakubwa wako mahali pale.
And He said I should come the other side.
Na nilipokuja upande mwingine,
In that place, there's a big house there with a big hall.
nikaona mahali hapo nyumba kubwa na varanda kubwa.
All that while I was wondering where the music was coming from, but I then saw it inside that big hall.
Na katika hiyo chumba kubwa nikawa una muziki unatokea upande huu.
I saw where the angels were praising God. They said, I have to go back and tell them
Akasema lazima urudi
that
uwaeleze.
Jesus will soon come.
Lakini
That Jesus will soon come.
kwamba awaambie Yesu anakuja karibuni.
Everybody should repent and get ready for him.
Kila mmoja atubu awe tayari kumpokea.
He said because they are not ready.
Akasema kwa sababu hawako tayari.
When they die, hell is waiting for them.
Hivyo basi wakiwa pale wanangojewa na jehanamu.
And it is not the will of God that any should perish.
Two of the testimonies that, I will be like, God, use my testimony to bring testimony into somebody's mouth.
Yeah.
Was first somebody who was, mentally ill that walked, by foot from Kenya to Uganda.
Okay, that was a meeting we did in Uganda.
Right.
He was a Kenyan, but he had walked all that
All
way.
the way from Kenya to Uganda,
Right.
and had lived there for a long time, acting crazy, wearing half clothes, not too much clothes, and raggedy, and living by the roadside, kind of market square.
Yeah.
And many people said, testify that they've been seeing him lie there and walk around so crazy. And
Just wearing rags, almost naked.
almost naked.
Just rags.
He showed up during our meeting,
Yeah.
women's meeting, and God touched him. One of the things he said was like he saw, kind of fire came down on him, and he fell down. And the pastors grabbed him, while he was passing by through the, canopy that we set down. And then they tried to hold him down, and then by the time he got up, he was like, where am I? What is going on? Started speaking normal. And the pastors went and bought some clothes and, trousers and shirts for him, changed him, and then brought him inside the conference.
And he was just like a normal person
normal
at that point.
person,
Just,
yeah.
And he looked nice,
Right.
dressed nice. They'd given him some more clothes, and
Right.
he talked just normal. It was one of the most amazing miracles I've seen personally. And it's just, God using you in that amazing way. So I just think it's awesome, how God calls people, anoints people, makes a way.
Yeah.
Your life is a story of miracles. Mine is too, but maybe not as dramatic of miracles.
Yeah.
Like for me, the fact that our ministry goes on from year to year and God keeps supplying the resources for us to do what we do, and we're really not that big of a ministry, but He makes a way and sends us and uses us. To me, that's miraculous.
a big miracle.
And I have never gotten out of amazement about just that fact, that I do what I do and God makes a way for that. And He's been doing it for years. When I first started out, I wasn't sure, is this going to work at all? So, we've all got our stories, but the main thing is there's a great big God who loves us all. And sometimes when I talk to people about how He supplied the need for our ministry and made a way for us to go back and again and again and again, year after year,
Right.
I say it's not because of us, it's because He loves those African people.
Yes.
And He wants them to hear the gospel of Jesus and be saved and blessed and helped and encouraged. God is a God of love.
God of love.
Our job is just to flow with that love and spread the word, because Jesus is at the heart of all God's great love for humanity. It's all compacted in Jesus Christ.
Right.
10 years, how do you feel? You ready to
10
do some
years.
more, or you think you're about ready to retire?
No, I'm not retiring. I'm just starting. God is not done with me.
God is
We're
not
just
done with you.
starting. So I have, one thing in these 10 years, it took me 10 years to go to the east, west, north, and, and south.
Yeah.
East, west, north, and south of the world. Like, we've been I started from Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, Philippines,
India,
India.
America, Canada.
Canada.
Yeah, we've been to a number of places, and
Right.
you just hop on a plane and we go
And we go.
we speak, and God does things, and we come back home, and then we start preparing to do it all over again somewhere
know.
else. So it's a good life. I've got no complaints. And,
No complaints.
Just thankful that God uses us. So congratulations. 10 years, 10 good years of ministry, of faithfulness, of preaching the Word.
Big 10.
To God be the glory.
Thank you. I just give God all the glory. You know, I give him all the honor, all adoration. I thank God for all that he has done,
Yeah.
you know, through me. I am just a vessel. I am nobody. I am a vessel unto honor. And I am so glad and happy, you know, that you believed in that, you know, my craziness of saying that I got a call of God in me. And you gave me a platform to, you know, make that happen. And
Well, you know,
God is not enough.
God is not a wasteful God.
No.
You know, when Jesus multiplied the bread and the fish, there was some left over. He said, gather it all together. We don't want to waste any.
Right.
And when I saw you could preach, you were anointed to preach, you could speak, you had gifts. It's like, there's no way I can just sit this woman down and let her watch me all the time. You know, that would be wasteful. Let her do her own thing and do some ministry alongside of me.
Right.
So to me, it's just reasonable, and I thank God for it, and I thank God for you.
I thank God for you too. I thank God for the, you know, opportunity. I thank God for, you know, everything bringing us together is another miracle. And, you know, so we are sharing 10 goals. It's like 3x10. We got 10 years of ministry, 10 years of our marriage, you know, this 2018, and then next year we got another 10 years coming.
And we, last November was 10 years from when we met. This November will be 11 years.
11 years.
So we're right in that 10-year range of all tremendous change. It came to you and me as well.
Next year will be another 10 years of me coming to America.
Yeah, there you go.